All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the latest edition of Baptized Fire with Brother Martin. That's right, if you will, I'm back with a vengeance. I'm back better than ever, ladies and gentlemen. And I just want to say to everybody out there that's saying, "Hey, Chris, man, it's been a few weeks. It's been a couple months since you did your last episode." You damn right. That's right. It's been a good minute because the God honest truth, guys, is that like I've said before, I know that sometimes I say, "Hey, man, I'm going to do this from week to week," but also there's times where I have the feeling, you know what? I don't want to put stuff out just for the sake of making a schedule. I want to put stuff out because I feel passionate about it, because I feel a fire lit under me to say stuff that I feel that would inspire and motivate people, because ultimately that can't just happen necessarily on like a weekly basis to where I feel like I can give 100%. So there's going to be times where I do it from back to back, week to week, but there's also going to be times to where it's going to be maybe like a few weeks to like a couple months to between shows. So I'm not going to kid myself and say, "Hey, man, I'm going to definitely put out shows on a weekly basis," because I'm not going to promise you guys that, because this is a passion project for me. This is kind of like therapy for me. This is my show to get out my feelings, to let everybody know what's going on in my world, and which I'm not about to use this as a place to say, "Hey, man, I want to make a ton of fans to really get views, to get this, to get that." The honest truth is, I want the individuals that do watch this, whether it's live or whether it's taped, to really get something out of it, and like to help them add something to their life, whether it's something that can help them uh, clear something that's going on within their life by my experiences, right, wrong, or indifferent. I am here to help. I'm here to inspire. I'm here to be an open book. I'm here to be a vessel, ladies and gentlemen. I'm here to be that shoulder to cry on, because guess what? We're all one giant family here on this thing called Earth, regardless of whether you are a Christian, an atheist, a Muslim, whether you are a spaghetti monster worshiper, whether you are a Scientologist, a Republican, a Democrat, an independent, a Bull Moose Party supporter. It doesn't matter, ladies and gentlemen, because ultimately, like I said, we are all in this together. We are all humans. We are all one giant family that has a basic idea of what we think is the truth. And the thing is that I've recently been struggling with certain things, like with my personal journey, like within my faith, which I'm going to be sharing. But I have this show put together tonight because ultimately it's midnight, baby, and it's March 7th, 2023, and it's actually my wife's birthday. Like, my best friend, she is my partner, she is my everything. And it's like I tell everybody, God's the foundation for my life, and my wife, she's the glue that holds me together. Because this is the thing, I would not be here without her. Which I would not, which I would not be breathing if it wasn't for my wife, because she's the one that has watched out for me. She has loved me unconditionally. She has been there for me. We have gone from nearly being homeless to nearly starving, to going through 4 miscarriages, to having our kids, to having our just absolutely everything we've been through. Honestly, it's truly blessed by God, and I'm extremely grateful. Not only from her sharing like her life with me, but to giving me my children, to helping me get sober. Everything, guys. If you get the opportunity and God blesses you with those individuals within your life that you can really share them with, not necessarily God, but whoever you believe in, if you happen to have that serendipitous connection, if you happen to have the opportunity to where you come across those individuals that really add to your life and really make you a better person, and make you to want to be a better person, I encourage you, don't just let that person pass by. Grab onto those individuals, not necessarily physically. I mean, if it gets to the point to where like the mood strikes and like you're both consenting, go for it. But I'm saying, from like a spiritual and emotional perspective, if you have that person that you can connect to on a massively huge basis, a worldwide basis, a spiritual basis, whatever you want to call it, it is such an amazing thing. It is such an amazing feeling. And I am praying that every single person you find that connection with those individuals, because I know for me, I was able to find that person at a very young age. Now, the thing is that like with my wife, whenever we met, I wasn't necessarily the most mature guy. Okay. So I was still living with my mom and dad, and whenever we started dating. So the thing is that for me, I owe a lot to her. And like one of the other things that I owe to her is that she helped me grow up. She helped me see things from the big boy perspective. She helped me put my big boy pants on. And just, it's just so many things that I owe to this woman. There's just so many things that I'm grateful for. And just, I'm just blown away, and I'm just amazed that God loves me so much that he gives me this woman in my life, because there's many times that I fall short of showing her what she deserves to receive, but she ultimately loves me no matter what. She loves me unconditionally, and I'm doing better, guys. I'm doing better than what I was. Because there's a lot of things I was struggling with that really like was holding me back from giving my wife 100%. I mean, and mainly it was the whole thing with me struggling with, once again, the whole thing like with like my mom and dad and being able to let go. And the trip I went last year to go see my brother in California, it was a huge eye opener for me, which I've spoken about that before. But that led to me eventually being able to let go of the whole thing, like with my mom and dad. And it led me to building a better relationship with my wife, which has led me to having a greater value for her, a greater appreciation for what she does for me, for what she does for these kids, and a greater value and appreciation for what God has done for me when it comes to her being in my life. So guys, it's just one of those things, man. It's day by day, man. We learn, we grow, and we have these choices to make. We have these opportunities that are given by God. And I just want to say, I mean, I'm grateful because every opportunity that I normally get from God, I do, which if I'm not too hard-headed and I pay attention, I normally take it. And it's led to an amazing life. And I can't say enough how grateful I am for what God has done for me, what God's done for my family, like my wife, my kids, everything, my job, which speaking of my job, things are doing phenomenal. I'm kicking ass. I'm taking names. I'm making more money than I ever have in my life. Not that that's extremely important to me, because it's not, but the fact that I'm not having to struggle anymore because of the blessings and because of the opportunities given, I'm blown away. I'm grateful. I'm humbled. I'm just so unbelievably grateful for everything, man. It's like everything is falling into place when it comes to my work, my family, my spirituality, everything, man. But also through that, it's making me realize certain things that really, really irk me. I mean, and you can have spiritual peace, ladies and gentlemen, but you could also have those things that irk you, because the bigger things that occur, like the more you get closer with God, like the more God reveals certain things to you, to where you notice things that are going to annoy you more, because you realize that it's not within the will of what God wants for you or for others. So, but back to what I was saying, the whole thing, like with my wife, I am greatly, unbelievably appreciative of her. I'm so happy that it's her birthday. She is 25 and holding currently. I mean, extremely impressive, by the way. And so, Stuttering Stanley here, if you will, baby. I got the day off, so like we're gonna be having like a fun birthday day, or birthday or birthday day, whatever you want to call it, guys. We're gonna be having a blast. I mean, picking the kids up from school, and like we're just gonna be having some fun. So like honestly, if you, once again, guys, if you get these opportunities, like to show the individuals that you care about that you love them more by doing these special things and being able to have time off, do it. Take full advantage of it, because ultimately for me, like I said, I am grateful for my job because they're extremely flexible with things like this. Normally 98% of the time, whenever I get these days coming up, they give them to me off, because I'm at the point to where I work hard enough to where they appreciate me, they value me, and they're more willing to work with me on things like that and say, hey, he's willing to work hard and he's willing to sacrifice for us. So let's be fair and let's give back to him. And I'm just excited. I'm just blown away by it. So I pray that all is well with every single person that's watching this, whether it's live, whether it's taped. I hope that you're doing all right. Me and John, we just got done taping. Well, not necessarily taping, but we did a live episode of the Retro Wrestling Revival. We did, I believe it was the April 28th, 1997 episode of Monday Nitro. It was a short episode, which was only like 45 minutes, but we had an absolute blast doing it. And it's just these amazing things to where you get those moments to share with people that you really care about. And one of my highlights when it comes to like my weeks is every Monday night I get the opportunity, like at least two hours a week. Me and John, we just drop everything and we just have fun. We watch some old school wrestling and we just shoot the shit and we just bond. And it's so cool that we have that to bond over, and wrestling has been the thing that has helped us build that friendship, like to build that bond, like to build that brotherhood. Which I joke around, but not really. I say to people that wrestling does save lives. Wrestling does make relationships, and wrestling does save lives. And I'm a firm believer in that because of how tight knit the fan base is, and like the connections that you make with those individuals, that can lead to lifelong relationships that really have an impact on you. So I know for me, John is a big example of wrestling being able to connect us and to have like a deep, meaningful relationship, guys. And it's just awesome. And speaking of wrestling, me and my wife now, like, we're bonding over it. And it's pretty cool because now she's starting like to notice like the nuances of it, the ins, the outs, how the characters work, how they talk, what goes on like within the ring. Heck, she's so good now that she can even spot whenever they're about to go to a break on TV. So like she is soaking it in like a sponge. So it's cool to be able to share those things with your partner. And I know for me, me and her, we love to watch the Goldbergs together. We love to watch the Connors together. We love to watch, which I'll be man enough to admit this, I love the show Army Wives. And that's one of like my wife's favorite shows. And like we watched that together. And back in the day, we used to watch the show called Teen Mom together. But I'll be honest with you, like after like a few years, it got extremely unrealistic because this is the thing, guys. Like the initial shows, it was to reflect real life when it came to a teen mom struggling to take care of her kid. And once those teen moms started to get rich and get this and get that, how could the average teen mom relate to that? So that right there, like that kind of made it to where like we stopped watching it. But anyways, guys, I'm kind of going off on like a little tangent here, but ultimately it's those little things that we can share together to where like we can bond. Me and my wife, like we bond over that stuff. We bond over just things like as simple as there's nights where I get home and it's just something as simple as just wanting to just lay down and just cuddle with each other, like, or we just go for like a nice walk and just open up and just share your day and just to have that thing, just have that connection with that person. It just blows me away. I'm grateful. And one of like my favorite things to do is to just go out for like a walk, like with my wife and like with where I live at, guys, which is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. It is a very compact city, which I don't call it a city. I call it like a large town. And the cool part about it is because of where we live at, it is literally within like 5 or 6 blocks of the beach. And the cool thing is that we can literally walk anywhere, like within reason with Myrtle Beach. So like the cool part about it is that we get the opportunity to where like we can walk down to the beach together. We can go to restaurants together, everything else. And it's just so many great things, just so many great opportunities. And just as my wife likes to hear about my work day, normally like the trade-off is that she shares with me what goes on at home, because as you guys know, my wife is a stay-at-home mother, because I feel like it's extremely essential. It's extremely important and vital to have that stay-at-home parent. Now, if you are not able to, I understand, because there's a lot of households out there that have to have multiple parents working just to pay the bills. And I'm blessed and I'm fortunate because I'm able to be the solo breadwinner, and to be able to make enough money to pay for the bills so my wife could stay at home with the kids. And because of that, and I'm extremely proud of this, guys, my son, like my 15-year-old, soon to be 16 in July, he is in the ROTC program at his local high school. And he's wanting to join the military. He's wanting to go in as a medic. And I think that is an awesome job. And you really have to have a servant's heart. You really, really have to have a passion for helping people. And you really have to be willing to go out of your comfort zone to deal with what they deal with, because it's a very stressful job, guys. And very, very few people are able to really cut the mustard on it. And if he's able to do it, I'll be extremely proud of him. If he makes the effort and he fails, the fact that he tried it, I'd be proud of him. And my son just made the AB honor roll. He's been on the AB honor roll since I think it's either second or third grade, and we are extremely proud of him. And that speaks to, once again, the whole thing with me sacrificing so my wife could stay at home and so she could be there for the kids. And those things lead to another, into where the kids will benefit from my sacrifice, and they'll benefit from her sacrifice, being able to work with them on their schooling and so many other things. And that's where the whole aspect of marriage, like the whole dynamic of marriage, like it really, really steps up to where you have the wife that plays her role, you got the husband that plays their role. Like they're polar opposites, but they come perfectly together. Like they fit perfectly together. And I know, like for our dynamic, it's absolutely perfect, and it's sharper than ever. Which it's kind of like a knife, like that goes up against like a sharpening stone. Like the more the stone turns, like the sharper the knife gets, and like the more precise things get. So I'm extremely grateful for that. And once again, I thank God every single day for the fact that I have my wife. I thank God every day that I'm able to have that person to share my life with, like to lay down with, like to cuddle with. I mean, even if she takes up 90% of the bed because like she's spread out like a cat, the fact that I have somebody to share the bed with, even if she's spread out like a cat, yeah, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm blown away by it. So just the fact that I'm able to celebrate her birthday with her, it just really, really makes me happy. It just tickles my fancy. And my wife, she's really not that big on things like birthdays, and she's not that big on things like holidays for her. Because unfortunately, I mean, I don't mean to sound like a negative Nancy, but the way she was raised, especially like with her mom, she was made to feel like crap if it was anything that was directed towards her when it came to something positives and something to celebrate, because her mom always wanted it to be about her, not about the kids. It was always about her. And unfortunately, like my wife, she experienced that so much growing up that she still, and we've been married for 12 years, guys, she still is trying to get used to the concept of feeling good about being celebrated, because she's worth it. She deserves it. She's an amazing person. And damn it, it's my job to remind her how amazing she is. It's my job to remind her that she's amazing. She's valuable. She should be celebrated. And by God, she should feel good about it. Because we should celebrate our loved ones. We should show our loved ones, hey, thank you for what you do. Thank you for being in my life. Thank you for being such an amazing influence on me, such an impactful spirit that you make my life better. You make me want to be a better person. You've helped me in so many ways. And like I said, I can't say it enough. And like my wife, she has helped me become a man. She has helped me growing up a lot. She's made me realize so many things, but also I've helped her realize a lot of things. And when it comes to things like her parents, I've helped her whenever it comes to her getting the courage to realize that she needs to put her foot down and she needs to stick up for herself, because she's been the type of person to where she always doesn't want to rock the boat. So she will make peace at the expense of her own unhappiness. And I'm telling her now, and I'm proud of her because she's stepping up and she's realizing, damn it, life is too short. And if somebody's not willing to be fair to me, why should I have to be fair to them? Why should I have to be miserable for the sake of faking being happy to make them happy? It's not right, guys. So I told her, even with me, don't do it. Be open, be honest, be truthful to who you are. And I guess my Yankee ways are kind of rubbing off on her, which I hope it continues, especially within like the next few months, because we're going to be going back up to the most wonderful city in the right on the East Coast, Western PA, the city of Pittsburgh, my version of heaven on earth, ladies and gentlemen, the place where I feel absolutely accepted, loved, and I feel at peace 1,000%. Pittsburgh, baby. I know some people are like, what? That's a really awkward answer, Chris. That's a really weird thing. But I'm going to tell you this right now. We all have our places where we feel loved, where we have that peace, where we have that overall nirvanic feeling of like, holy crap, this is where I belong. And for me, it's Pittsburgh. So I'm glad me and my wife were finally on like the same page, like the same level, to where she's starting to feel the same way. Because every single time we go up there to visit, she feels like this is where she needs to be. She feels like this could be my home, and I'm glad she's finally on the same page. But once again, that goes back to the whole thing with me reflecting and me working on things to better myself and to not let certain emotions and certain things get within the way of me showing my wife how much I love her and that I do get it and that I do understand her. And once again, back to the whole thing with like my mom and dad, that was like the roadblock, so to speak, that was stopping us from really reaching that next level, like with that connection. And once again, back to it, going to San Diego last year and like my brother really putting it within like that perspective for me really helped me break down that roadblock, really helped me break down that barrier that led to me and my wife really connecting deeper, and her seeing things from my perspective and me saying things from her perspective. And it's just absolutely amazing, guys. It really is. So I encourage people that if you're going through something right now there's a barrier like that's stopping you from reaching that next level, like with your partner, that could make a better understanding between the two of you, or could make better opportunities for your future. I encourage you, go seek the help that you need. Go talk to people that you really care about, that you really trust. Which, if you need to go to therapy, go for it. There's no shame in admitting that you got issues. There's no shame in admitting that you got problems. And just be open, be honest, be truthful. And that could lead to so many great opportunities, because like I said, God's not going to give you bigger things like unless you handle the smaller things first. Because God's going to be like, well, if you can't handle the small things, then you damn sure can't handle the bigger things. So it's a step by step process. So it's like the smaller thing that leads to the medium thing, like that leads to the bigger thing, that leads to the larger thing. And it's just an amazing process, guys. It's, and like I said, which I'm embarrassed that it's taken me this long to get to this point with me and her, with the connection we have, because I let so many things stop me from us finding that sooner. But I'm glad that that I was able to get there regardless. And I'm glad that she loved me enough to stick by me. And like my wife has told me on many occasions that even whenever I made mistakes and even whenever I screwed up, she didn't see the mistake. She saw my heart. And that really means a lot to me. And I tell people, if someone is struggling and they're going through things, don't go straight to what they're struggling with. Don't go straight to focusing on the mistakes. Go straight to focusing on, okay, what's in their heart and what's leading them to act out like this? What is leading them to be the way that they are right now? And what can you do to help? Whether it's just something as simple as listening, or you giving certain words of wisdom or words of advice that you've been through, like with similar experiences, that could help that individual. Be open, be willing to listen, because you know what? Once again, we're all one giant family. We all need to love each other. We need to respect each other regardless of our differences. But we also need to hold each other accountable to that. And once again, I'm grateful my wife, she holds me accountable for everything, and she calls me out for my bullshit, even whenever I did not want to hear it back then. And the God honest truth is now I am man enough to say that I actually, which I take accountability for shit. I used to be the type to where I was so hard-headed and so proud to where I'm like, well, yeah, she's got a point, but I'm not going to admit that she's right. And the problem with that is that with my pride, that led to like a stalemate to where we weren't able to really make progress, because I wasn't willing to acknowledge the fact that she was right and to make the proper changes to move forward so we can become closer. And now I'm doing that. Things are getting a lot better. Honestly, when it comes to like us arguing, we argue maybe like a few times a month, and it's normally not huh? No, you're right. And once every 3 or 4 months, but when you do fight, it's a big blowout. Yeah, but like normally, remember how it used to go on for days, and now it's like maybe like a few hours. You, not me. Well, yeah, but like now it's maybe like a few hours, and then it's over with. And guys, there's just so many great things that me just letting go has led to with me and my wife. And one of like the side benefits, guys, is I'll be honest with you, because marriage is a blessed union with that God has made. And one of the benefits of sex, I'll be honest with you guys, sex is an amazing part of marriage. Which I encourage people, don't have sex unless you are in a deeply committed relationship, because ultimately it's not created by God to just randomly go from person to person to person, because sex is meant to be a tool to deepen your love for somebody. And if you just randomly go from person to person to person, that could lead to mixed signals that could eventually lead to hurt feelings, that could lead to damage, that leads to a lot of issues with future relationships, guys. So I'm just letting you know from experience, it's not a smart thing to do. Be in that fully committed relationship, because that's whenever you can build that love, you can build that trust, and you know the real meaning behind what God says whenever he blesses the marriage bed. Because honestly, like with my wife, the older I get, the more sex we have, and the more attracted to her I am. I mean, hell, it's to the point now to where all she has to do is like lay next to me, and she just like rubs my leg, and I am harder than a diamond in a fucking ice storm. And it's because of that love, because of that that deep attraction that we developed. It's kind of like a dance, like a fine-tuned instrument that like you keep tuned and like you practice, you get better at it, but it's still just so. I'm trying to find a way to describe this, guys. It's a great thing when it happens, because whenever you have that person that you have that deep love for, it makes the physical aspects even better. I mean, down to something as simple as her kissing me. It fucking lights my world up. It does. And I want that for you guys. I want you to have that deep relationship with that person to where it is, man, as something as simple as them grabbing my leg or something as simple as them kissing me. I know I can feel that love. And like, we're so deeply connected that even her grabbing my hand, like to hold my hand, I can feel that love. I can feel that energy. And it's just such an amazing thing to get to that point. And now I'm starting to see what people are talking about, like with these old couples, like these old happy married couples that love each other more and more, and it gets deeper and deeper. Now I get it. Now I get it. And it's just like the physicality, like within our relationship, with like sex, with the passion, with everything else, it's never been better. And it's just because of the love, because of like the trust, because of the connection we have built with each other, and the understanding that we have each other. Ultimately, too, it's trust. Because honestly, my wife is the only person that I can say that I've ever been with that I have 100% trust beyond a shadow of a doubt that she would stay faithful to me. Because she has given me her full heart, and she's given me no reason to doubt her at all, guys. And that is such a wonderful feeling. And she feels the same way. And she gets people hitting on her every single week. She goes to the store. She gets hit on. My son gets extremely pissed off about it.
Angel freaking turns around.
Yeah.
If some guys like whistle their heart, Angel's like, they're trying to talk to us, Mommy. I'm like, yeah. Ignore it, Angel.
Which our 10-year-old, she doesn't really get the whole thing with flirting. So yeah, she's still very innocent. But like the funny part about it is that with her, it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, Angel, like we get it. And but like my 16-year-old, he's extremely smart to it, to where it really it really pisses him off, because he's like, Mom, you belong to Dad, and these assholes need to realize this. And which I know for me, because of where I work at, I get all kinds of women. I get old women.
Don't lie, Chris.
I get old women. I get young women. I get big women. I get small women. I get fat women. I get tall women.
So like 2 years ago, I turned around and asked Jen to say, what would you do if I turned around and I brought somebody in the house? I would kick his damn ass. I'm like, You would? You wouldn't back me up and try to keep secrets? Hell no, I wouldn't. That's what would you ever do? No, hell no, I wouldn't. Damn, James.
Oh yeah. And I know you're testing them. So, which I know you're testing them. And
no.
So the thing is that, guys, whenever you're able to have that person with like the physical, like the spiritual, with everything, it's such an amazing, and it's such a beautiful thing, and it makes you more appreciative for God. It makes you gratitude. And this is the thing, guys, is I'm almost to the point to where I have complete contentment within my life. I am everything once again, to my job, to my kids, to my wife, everything. I couldn't be happier. I couldn't be more content because I know that no matter what happens, God will give me the opportunities needed for me to work to make sure that they're taken care of. So I don't worry. When it comes to money, I hardly ever worry. And it's amazing when it gets to that point. It really, really is. And I don't know, guys. It is so hard to explain. Just like the happiness, the contentment, everything else. And that's also another reason why I haven't been doing as many shows. Not only because I want to give you something special every single time, but also because I've been spending so much time like with the wife and kids that honestly I just really haven't felt like shooting anything, because that's time that's removed from them, because they mean that much to me. And I see certain people, I hate to say it, that I thought really, really got the message and really, really saw the big picture, but unfortunately they're going back to their old habits and they're dedicating time to stuff that, quite frankly, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't fucking matter. And it's going to take away from time with individuals that really matter the most, because, quite frankly, the individuals that which I'm just going to say he is wasting his time on, don't give two shits about him. They're using him, and it's just a thing to where you're not going to get that time back, dude. So stop wishing and stop making dire attempts to do stuff that ultimately you're not going to succeed at because of the individuals you're surrounding yourself around. Because ultimately, if they've been shunned in certain ways because of stuff that's been proven, I don't know what you think by hitching your wagon to them that's going to do to help you. As a matter of fact, it's going to lead to you being ostracized even more. And
put it this way, they would piss on you if you were on fire. We tell Adam all the time.
Yeah, that's true. And the thing is that you hitching your wagon to them, it's going to make you a bigger laughingstock than what you already are. So it is what it is. So like for me, guys, honestly, it's to the point like of podcasting is it's secondary for me. If I get time to do it, awesome. I'm grateful for it. But if I don't care. When it comes down to it, it is what it is. The main thing I do look forward to is, once again, I look forward to spending time with John Monday nights and doing like the wrestling watch along. It is awesome. Once again, guys, I just want to say happy birthday to my amazing wife. She's 25 and holding. And I've been with her for 12 years, and I hope to be with her 50 more. And the fact I'm able to share everything with her, it just means the world to me, guys. I hope you find that peace. I hope you find that contentment. I hope you find that person you can really say with 100% certainty they are yours. They are your best friend. They are your soulmate. They are the ones that you could dedicate your whole life to. You could take a bullet for. You can do absolutely anything, and they'll support you. And I have that person, and it guys, it's just so unbelievably beautiful. I know I'm going on and on about it, but wow, I can't say it enough. So I know some of my stuff I just said was graphic, a little bit of a sexual nature, if you will, but that's a part of marriage, guys. And if you're doing it a lot, and you've been around as long as we have, then that's not a bad thing at all. That shows that your relationship is pretty damn healthy. Because like there's nothing to be ashamed of in that factor, like within that realm, if you will. It is perfectly natural, because you guys know that I'm I'm a very progressive guy. So like this is going to lead me to my last topic of the night, because I've been going on about my wife for 40 minutes. This is my last topic, if you will. shout out to Dusty Rhodes on, I know I'm saying it a lot, but honestly, lately, with watching the news, with watching people in general, because I feel like working for Walmart, it's a big, huge reflection of what America is and what it represents, and it, because I have literally every walk of life walk through my doors. And it's unfortunate because one of the biggest things that people struggle with is when it comes to things like politics, especially families. Like, there's families that are torn apart all because of like the differences within like the ideologies of like the politics of the individual. So let's say your brother is a Republican and you're a Democrat, and you guys have these huge disagreements, and you're letting that be like the defining factor on your relationship. So you say, fuck him, he's stupid, and I'm not talking to him. But then you get diagnosed with cancer, and you're thinking to yourself, well, fuck him because of his beliefs. Or are you just like some other people that think to themselves, well, like, we might have our differences, but fuck it. He's still my brother, and I love him no matter what. That's the camp that yours truly is in. Because you guys know that I am a liberal Christian. I am a progressive Christian. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. I believe he died for my sins. I believe he rose on the third day. And I believe that I'm going to heaven because of the sacrifice of Jesus Christ. I believe that wholeheartedly, which I'm 34 years old now. I have believed this since I was 16. I gave my life to Christ my junior year of high school. As a matter of fact, it was in the April of 2006. I gave my life to Christ. I will never turn away from that. I will never turn away from my beliefs. But I am also willing to evolve my beliefs. I'm also willing to evolve my politics and be open to possible changes to help deepen my understanding of things. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there that don't really care to do that because they don't like to be pushed out of their comfort zone. And for me, yes, I am a Christian. Yes, I believe in Jesus. Yes, I believe in God. I believe in all that. But also, I do believe in a lot of liberal ideologies, especially when it comes to things like not mixing religion with politics. I believe this is not a Christian nation that we live in. I believe this is a nation founded on the freedom of religion. I believe this is a nation founded on, hey, if you want to believe in Buddha, do it. If you want to believe in Jesus, do it. If you don't believe in shit, go for it. That's your choice. That's your right. But whenever I have issues is whenever you have these politicians that are crazy for Jesus, and yet they want to pass laws based off of their supposed beliefs, and yet that does more harm than good. My question to those individuals is that, what kind of example are you setting for God by shoving shit down people's throats that they didn't ask for? Because ultimately, back to what I said, the separation of church and state, to where it is, you're supposed to not let your faith dictate the individual choices that you make when it comes to law. Because normally it's been a long drawn out record, which it's true, that it does a hell of a lot more bad than good. Because that's like, for me, when it comes to things, and I know this is a very touchy issue, but the things like the abortion issue, I personally believe that that it should not be used as birth control, but I also do believe that when it comes to things like rape, incest, when it comes to things like the mother's life being in danger, it should be allowed. You should have that choice, because quite frankly, me and my wife, we've gone through those things. So I know from personal experiences, because we've gone through 4 miscarriages. And for the individuals out there, they're like, there's a difference between a miscarriage and abortion. Well, guys, I'm going to let you know this. There is a procedure called a D&C that is done to females when it comes to cleaning women out that are struggling with miscarriages, and that is considered a medically needed abortion. Unfortunately, in states like South Carolina that I live in, they want to make it to where literally they want to give the death penalty to any female that wants that receives an abortion. I'm not exaggerating. Google that shit. They are currently trying to pass a bill right now for that. And the fact is that I feel like they should just leave the shit alone. And to each individual out there that have your own beliefs, live your own life. Seek your own happiness. And if that includes, let's say something were to happen and you were to be in like a poverty-stricken situation and you're struggling yourself and bringing like a child into this world, hey, is a bad idea because I'm going to struggle even more. If you want to choose to give that baby up for adoption or you want to choose to have an abortion, guess what? That ain't for me to tell you, oh, you're a piece of shit, you're going to hell, you're this, you're that, because quite frankly, that's your freedom of choice. I find it funny that whenever you have all these super Christians that walk around and they beat their chest like they're holier than thou, they want to pass judgment on others. Guess what? The fact that you're passing judgment on others, you are lowering the opportunities to really reach out and to really lead by example. Because this is the thing, guys. Jesus was friends with prostitutes. Jesus was friends with tax collectors. Jesus was friends with whores and so many other people. And guess what? He never passed judgment. He loved them, and he realized they were going through their own things for reasons. And this is the thing, guys. It's not our job to shove our beliefs on people just to tell them that they're wrong and that they're pieces of garbage. It is our job as Christians, real Christians, to love them regardless of wherever they're at in their life, because ultimately we don't just lead by our words, but we lead by our actions. And one of the actions we can take is loving people unconditionally, no matter the circumstance. And we really need to work on that. We really, really do, because the whole thing, like with the differences, like with the relationships, hell, guys, 2 out of my 3 best friends, okay? So like there's John, there's Tim, and there's Justin. And John, me and him, we're like 2 peas in a pod when it comes to our faith and our politics. So we get along great from that avenue. Justin, one of my other best friends, he's a Buddhist. He's a Buddhist monk, ladies and gentlemen. Do I believe in what he believes in? No, not even close. But do I respect him? Yes. Do I let that affect the way that I love him? Not at all. Because guess what? That's his journey. That's his life. And that's his freedom. And I will defend his right for that, regardless of what I believe in. My other best friend, Tim, I would take a bullet for him. I would die for him. As a matter of fact, if something were to happen to me, he's on the list of people that would take care of my kids. This is how highly I think of him. And he's a diehard conservative, ladies and gentlemen. And I do not let that affect the way that I see him, because I love him that much. I love him to the core, because he helped lead me to finding Jesus Christ. He helped lead me to making the greatest decision of my life that laid down the path for everything else that was to come. So I tell people, stop being so quick to judge. Stop being so quick to say, hey, oh, you're a piece of shit because you support abortions. You're a piece of shit because you support Biden. You're a piece of shit because of this. You're a piece of shit because of that. The God honest truth, guys. Do I support all liberals? I do not. Okay, Biden, he's doing a decent job. I ain't gonna lie to you. But do I support other people like Bernie Sanders and like Gavin Newsom and Nancy Pelosi? Hell no, not even close. because I see things from all perspectives, because I don't live in an echo chamber like so many other people that hear regurgitated information and they don't hear anything else, so they don't care to know anything else to evolve their perspectives and their views. Because I hate to say it, but there's a lot of people, especially from the conservative end and from the liberal end, that live in those echo chambers and they think they're high and mighty and that they know what's right and they have the solutions for all the problems, but yet they refuse to look outside of those chambers to say, hey, wait a minute. The whole world isn't exactly as I think it is. Maybe I should look into it. Maybe you should. And that's what I'm doing, guys, which I'm in a mode of self-discovery. I'm in a mode of spiritual growth. I'm in a mode of stepping back and looking at people, and instead of being so quick to judge, I think to myself, okay, why do they feel the way they feel? What are they going through? And what's leading them to making these making these decisions, to saying these words, to taking these actions, to where it is a life-altering thing, so to speak, because there's people that are downright obsessed with other human beings when it comes to like the way like they see the world. For example, there's some people right on the when it comes to like the left side, they are obsessed with Bernie Sanders and they think that everything he says is the freaking gospel. There's people that are obsessed with Donald Trump and they worship the guy. And the thing is that everything he says, it is the God honest truth, and they refuse to even acknowledge the fact that he's human or he's not perfect or he makes stupid statements or he's made poor decisions. Okay. And the fact is that everybody has it in one way, shape, or form. So, I mean, which I'll be the first to admit that within the past, I've been kind of harsh on the conservatives. I've been kind of harsh on that because I was so wrapped up in my little echo chamber on the left end that I wasn't willing to step outside and say, well, wait a minute, maybe things aren't as cut and dry as I thought. Because guess what, guys? Not everything's black and white. Like, there's shades of gray. So I'm willing to admit that I went to extremes on certain things. And I'm willing to acknowledge that there's good on both ends, there's bad on both ends. But also I'm willing to acknowledge, even with my spiritual growth, I have never felt more like an outcast when it comes to my faith. I've never felt more like someone that does not belong within my faith because of the way modern Christianity is perceived. Once again, we go back to the whole thing with church and state being mashed together, and you have so many people that want to mix this crap together that it muddies the water, and it really makes a lot of people uncomfortable. And it really makes it to where people like me, as soon as I tell somebody that I'm a Christian and that I'm I'm a progressive, their first thing that they assume is there's no way that's not possible, because they automatically have the perception that in order to be a Christian in the United States, you have to be a conservative. And that goes back to what I'm saying. That's why you need to separate the two. You need to separate like the politics. You need to separate the faith, and you need to understand that you can coexist having faith and a different ideology when it comes to your politics. And we are able to coexist. But unfortunately, especially with the area that I live in, I have people, as soon as I tell them, hey, man, I'm a progressive Christian, they tell me that I support a baby killer, that I am a hypocrite, that I don't know God, this, that, the other. But also, I used to be the type to where someone would say to me, which I'm a conservative Christian, and like my first thought, Trumper, racist, and a homophobe. I ain't gonna lie to you. I have those perspectives. But the more I looked into it, the more that I looked into myself, and then I looked at my relationships, which I look at once again. One of my best friends, Tim, diehard conservative, and I'm thinking to myself, well, he's not a homophobe, he's not a racist, he's not like a diehard Trumper. So why do I think other people are? And it's because of like a few bad experiences that have clouded my judgment on others. So I'm willing to see things on a case-by-case basis with people, but I wish they would see that with me. I really, really do. And it really breaks my heart when somebody that doesn't even know me is quick to judge me. When in fact, these individuals that claim they surrendered their lives to Christ are supposed to abide by unconditional love that Christ speaks about. Why are we letting things like politics be the deciding factor on whether we are brothers or sisters in Christ? Why are we letting it be the deciding factor on our faith when it comes to the connections we have? And we talk about the separation of the individuals like within our church. Heck, man, you have all white churches, you have all black churches, you have Latino churches, you have all that stuff. Churches have never been more segregated. And not only because of politics, but because of race. And it's not right. God did not mean it to be like this, guys. God meant it to where we all mix together. We all blend together. We are all that. We're supposed to be that shining city on the hill. We're supposed to be that kaleidoscope. We're supposed to be that rainbow, ladies and gentlemen, to where we show. We're supposed to be that gumbo, ladies and gentlemen, all mixing together to where we're supposed to show the rest of the world what it means to be children of God, what it means to see the light, what it means to live a life of love, peace, understanding, prosperity, and just so many other things. But we have lost so much. We've lost that a long time ago. Back to, once again, mixing the whole thing with politics and religion. I'm willing to acknowledge I'm a progressive, but I'm also willing to acknowledge I'm a Christian. But I'm also willing to separate the two. And ultimately for me, when it comes to my faith, that's normally dictating what I want for me and what I want for my family based off my faith. But when it comes to like my politics, it's normally what I would like for the country, no matter where you come from, how things should be. So you have the freedom to choose the life that you feel is best for you. No matter your politics, no matter your faith, no matter what your state is, it doesn't matter, guys. I love you all. I will support you no matter what. When it comes to your beliefs, I feel like if you want to be an atheist, go for it. That's your journey. If you want to be a Muslim, go for it, man. Like, that's your journey. You want to be a Buddhist, all that, go for it. I will support it because that's your right to choose to feel that way and to believe that. I pray that this country wakes up and we see things like, we go back to things like recognizing truth and facts, because ultimately we're to the point to where it's not about facts, but it's about whether the statements hurt our feelings. So we base our feelings on what we're going to believe. And guys, it's not supposed to be that way. I promise you it's not. And it's sad, once again, one of the biggest things that really upset me, and you guys know I'm a very passionate guy, is the whole thing. Guns is a big topic in the United States, and the number one cause of death for kids in the United States now is mass shootings. It's not cancer. It's not car wrecks. It's not diabetes. It's mass shootings. Because it's gotten so out of control that certain sides refuse. Now, that the conservatives, they care more about distracting people with things like drag show readings to children. And this is a fact, guys. Look it up. Instead of, and kissing the ass of the National Rifle Association, instead of passing meaningful legislation to protect our children. That's why whenever people say to me that they're pro-life, but yet like they're super duper on board with guns, which I am for the Second Amendment, guys. I am for the right to choose to have bear arms, but I don't believe you should have access to assault rifles. There is no need for a non-military person to own that shit. Just saying, like a pistol, shotgun, whatever, that's fine. But an assault rifle that is so deadly that it shreds skin apart to the point to where you have to identify children by their shoes, that's whenever I have an issue. And yet you have people that constantly deflect and say that it's not a gun issue, but it's a person issue. No, it's not just a person issue, but it's also an access issue. And if we were to have stricter gun regulations similar to the country of Australia, which has not had a mass shooting since 1996, look it up. Dean, a fan of the show, actually, he would know this shit better than I would, especially like with the mass shootings in Australia or lack thereof. And the fact is that you have these people so wrapped up in protecting individuals like the National Rifle Association that they care more about profiting them, and they're scared of what the repercussions are, that it's at the expense of children dying. That's whenever people tell me they're pro-life, but they're pro-guns, like super, like with no regulations. I find that hard to believe, because normally those individuals, they tell me that they don't like food stamps, they don't like no form of welfare. So my thing about it is, what if a child is born into a situation to where they're in poverty and they have to use food stamps and they have to use welfare? Now, you didn't want that mother to get an abortion, but you're complaining that the kids are eating. So my thing about it is, you can't have it both ways. That's why I have issues with certain groups of people, because what the fuck they say makes no sense. It's so counterintuitive. It's so hypocritical. It's disgusting. But also on the other end, on the left side, you got individuals that have they had the numbers to make change, but they're so spineless that they want to try to work things out with the other side, when in fact they don't really seem to understand that the other side doesn't give a shit to work with them. So my thing about it is that if you need to force something through, do it. Because if it's going to benefit the children overall, do it. Even if it's a minimal form of gun regulation, it's a start. It's a step in the right direction. But unfortunately, you got people on both sides being bought off, and yet they all claim, oh, we're people of God, we're Christians, we're this, we're that. But if you were, deep down, honestly, you wouldn't let the children of God be killed because you're being bought off. And also, it leads to a whole thing with mental health issues within this nation. I believe we should have mental health background checks. I believe we should have criminal background checks. And I believe that there should be a whole slew of things that are required before somebody buys a firearm. And if they're if they're a good guy, then there should be no issues with them passing those individual tests or like those background checks. So, guys, I struggle with all this stuff because I want to fit into something, but I don't feel like I fit in at all. Because, like I said, whenever I claim what I am, I have people every single day telling me, nope, there's no way that you are, because of what I believe with and because of what I align with. That tells me that you're not, because I'm in my little echo chamber that reminds me and that tells me on a daily basis, nope, it's not possible for somebody else from the other side of the fence to even remotely relate to you, because they're scumbags. I'm so tired of that, guys. It's time for us to get our heads out of our ass. It's time for us to recognize it. It's time to hold each other accountable and be willing to get our heads out of the sand, to get our heads out of those chambers that have the echoes in them, and to be willing to hear things from both sides, so we can ultimately increase our understanding and create a better form of communication and ultimately unity. Because I know, like, within my lifetime, and I'm only 34 years old, guys, even within my lifetime, I witnessed people on both sides of the fence being able to get along regardless of their differences. And now it's to the point to where it is non-existent. Do you want to live in a world to where it's going to progressively get worse, and to where it's a thing to where it's like two separate tribes? No, guys, we're supposed to be under one banner. We're supposed to be under one flag. We're supposed to be one nation together. We're supposed to watch out for each other, because this is the thing. No matter who's in charge when it comes to leaders, he's steering the ship regardless. So the fact that you have so many people that want bad things to happen to him, that's like you shooting yourself in the foot, saying, well, this shit hurts, but you keep doing it, and then eventually it gets gangrene, and then it goes up to your fucking leg, and you lose your leg, and then you're like, I don't know how that happened. You did it to yourself. It was self-inflicted. This is the thing with individuals out there. We are our own worst enemies, and most suffering that we go through, it's normally self-inflicted. So it's time for us to wake up. It's time for us to recognize, and it's time for us to show the love that God calls us to show, no matter where we are, no matter who we're with. And back to my wife, she's a big example of somebody showing me what unconditional love is, because I'm extremely hard-headed with certain things, and she's helping me soften up my views. She's helping me soften up my perspectives and be willing to be more accepting of where people are coming from. Because once again, I do it on a person-by-person and by a case-by-case basis now, because I have the perspective now. Every single person that I come across, instead of being quick to judge because they identify as something, I think to myself, okay, why do they feel this way? Where are they coming from? And what are the influences that they have within their life leading them to seeing things from the way they see them? That's what I'm doing, guys. I pray that you can do that. Whether I really do. But back to the whole thing with the accountability, guys. There's something that I want to play for you. This is going to prove my point when it comes to needing to call people out for their bullshit. And back to the whole thing, like with gun control, guys. And being willing to take responsibility instead of deflecting, because people, once again, the liberals, they have a really bad habit of not having the balls to do something, but also the conservatives have a really bad habit of just distracting people with bullshit that does not exist. Oh, really quick. And I got to say this, being a Christian. If I hear again somebody say to me that Christians are being persecuted within this nation and they're being held down and they're being censored and this and that, I'm going to fucking puke. Okay? There is no such thing as Christian censorship within this nation. The reversal of Roe v. Wade is a prime example. There is no such thing as censorship with Christians or fucking persecution. Because believe me, if Christians were as persecuted as people claimed, that shit would have never gotten reversed. Okay? I'm going to tell you this right now, too. When it comes to the thing like with the persecution and this and that, and like we're being held back, stop playing the victim, because a lot of people, they want to play the victim that way they can justify ignorance, stupidity, hate, and bullshit views. That way, whenever somebody says, hey man, why are you being such a dick, and why are you being so mean, those people have that cross, so to speak, to fall back on, saying, well, I'm a victim, so this is why I'm lashing out like this. Fucking stop. Because I watch movies like God's Not Dead and this and that, and it's and like they're portraying Christians being victims and being censored and this and that, and it's the atheists that are coming after them, the Muslims that are coming after them. Give me a fucking break. No one's coming after anybody. Okay? Christians are the majority in the United States. Believe me, we're fine. So please, stop, you people with your fucking victim complexes. It doesn't look good on you. And guess what? And I'm going to say this till the day I die. Do you guys know what the biggest cause of atheists in this world is? It's Christians. Because Christians are some of the biggest hypocrites out there. They speak about love. They speak about tolerance. They speak about respect. They speak about unconditional love, loving thy brother, loving thy sister, this, that. But as soon as you mention you have a certain view, they'll be first to tell you what a piece of garbage you are. That's the issue I have, and that goes back to mixing politics with religion and why it's not supposed to be that way, and why the law has made it to where it's separated, but unfortunately people aren't reinforcing it, because it leads to bullshit like that, and it leads to division, and we need to unite, and we do not need to divide. But back to the whole thing with accountability. I'm going to play a clip. I'm a big Jon Stewart fan. He is the former host of The Daily Show. He is a progressive commentator, and he also is a person that fought hard for healthcare benefits for the 9/11 first responders. Many of them got diagnosed with cancer, lung disease. Many of them died as a result of breathing in the toxic fumes from the buildings being demolished. Okay? In 9/11, that's a completely different discussion, which I ain't going there, but it is what it is. But the fact is that he is an advocate for equal treatment for all Americans, no matter where they come from. So, all right, I'm going to play a clip real quick. Sweetie, honey, that tape is really loud. So, all right, I'm going to play this clip real quick, and then like we're going to get out of here, because I'm going to go lay down, and which I'm going to cuddle with the wife. So, all right, guys, hold on. All right, baby. It's the American dream. So once again, we need to call each other out on both sides, okay? So don't think I'm bashing anybody in particular, but this goes back to what I'm talking about. You have conservatives that are pushing out a narrative that apparently drag queens are groomers, they're pedophiles, they're this, they're that, and apparently like there's drag queens all over the country breaking down the walls to your local schools to read to your children with accordance to what these people say. But you would think these individuals would put forth the same effort and passion towards simple common sense gun reform that would actually save the lives of the children that they supposedly care about. So here we go, guys.
More than cancer,
there we go.
Even rights have responsibilities, and that within those responsibilities and order. Otherwise, it's chaotic. I'll go you one further. You want to ban drag show readings to children. Why? Yes. Why? What are you protecting?
Why can we prohibit children from voting, those under 18 from voting?
Why are you banning
that?
Is that free speech? Are you infringing on that performer's free speech?
They can continue to exercise their free speech, just not in front of a child.
Why?
Because the government does have a responsibility to protect.
I'm sorry?
The government does have a responsibility in certain instances.
What's the
children.
leading cause of death amongst children in this country? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not drag show readings to children.
Correct, yes.
So what is it?
I'm presuming you're going to say it's firearms.
No, I'm not going to say it like it's an opinion. That's what it is. It's firearms. Yep. More than cancer, more than car accidents. And what you're telling me is you don't mind infringing free speech to protect children from this amorphous thing that you think of. But when it comes to children that have died, you don't give a flying fuck to stop that, because that shall not be infringed. That is hypocrisy at its highest order.
So, I'm saying this right now. If you don't care, just admit it. Stop beating around the bush. Stop distracting people. Stop gaslighting. Stop doing all that shit, guys. So if you just be honest. If you love guns more than children, just admit it. It's okay. That ain't my cup of tea, but it is what it is. If you love preaching about free healthcare, but yet not thinking of any solid ways to pay for it, and you want to shove it down everybody's throats, go for it. But acknowledge the fact that it's going to cost a lot of money to do it. Don't get me wrong. Do I support it? I think it's a great idea, but it's a pipe dream. Let's be honest here, guys, because ultimately it's going to cost trillions upon trillions of dollars. And then on top of that, you have way too many greedy companies that will never be willing to lighten their grip on the medical industry. And just like the whole thing with firearms, the National Rifle Association owns the right wing. Because as long as they continue to speak about Jesus and guns, which do not go together whatsoever, you're going to continue to have people be manipulated into thinking that that party has their best interest at heart, when in fact they're simply manipulating them to use them for voting so they can get more power. Just like with the other party, you have a lot of people that they're manipulated thinking, oh man, this person's going to change my community, but they don't have the backbone to put their foot down to help with the change process. So both sides got a lot of growing up to do, guys. But ultimately, when it comes to the faith, leave it out and focus on what's best for the community, not just for a select few, but for your community of Black people, white people, Asian people, Muslims, atheists, Christians, all those. Focus on what's best for everybody, not just the ones that you can identify with. All right, guys, I'm sorry. I just had to get that out. But I'm glad I was able to do the show tonight. Once again, happy birthday to my hot fox wife, Priscilla. I'm extremely blessed and grateful that I'm able to spend the day with her. I want to thank my job for letting me have these next couple of days off to spend some time with her, if you will. And honestly, I'm once again, which I'm to the point to where, like with my life, I'm at extreme peace. I'm at extreme contentment. But I do have questions about things, and there's nothing wrong with asking questions, because by asking questions, you can help deepen your faith and help deepen your understanding for how things are, how they work, why they work, and why people feel the way they feel. Never be afraid to ask questions, and never be afraid to step outside and go into somebody else's neck of the woods to see why they are the way they are. Because You never know. You might have a lifelong friend as a result, because I know I do. I have three lifelong friends because of that. So, guys, I love you. Thank you for the ones that are going to join me later on the post live. Thank you. I know it's a little bit late, so like the individuals that tuned in tonight, thank you. I do appreciate it. Whether it's 1, 50, 500, 5,000, it doesn't matter. I hope I reach somebody. I hope I inspire somebody to make a positive change and to reflect and to focus on what they can do within their lives to better themselves. And hopefully that can start a ripple effect that can help them change lives within their community that can ultimately lead to greater changes within the world. All right, guys, I love you. Thank you. And once again, I appreciate it. And by the way, 1,000 followers on the Retro Wrestling Revival page. Thank you. That means a lot to me. That means a lot to John. And we've never had more fun doing our show. Because there's no pressure, guys. I love it. So please check out the Retro Wrestling Revival on Facebook. It is the Retro Repeat on YouTube. And we have a Retro Wrestling Revival Twitter. You go at it is at Retro W. Wait, hold on. Retro W Revival FB. And if you guys want to see me on Twitter and you want to message me, it is at BaptizedFire125. You can see me on Facebook, Baptized Fire with Brother Martin. If you guys want to come on my show, you can. I want to welcome all people from all walks of life. And I want you to realize that you're beautiful, that you're loved, and that and that we can start a conversation that could lead to roots being planted, seeds being planted that make strong roots that can make a relationship that lasts. So I hope to do that. So if you guys got topics that you want me to talk about that you're passionate for, let me know. Once again, guys, thank you. I love you. If I do a show within the next couple of days, awesome. If I do one next week, awesome. I'm not going to promise you when the next one's going to come out because, like I said, I'm not going to do something when it comes to these shows unless I feel passionate and I feel a deep conviction for it. So, all right, guys, I love you. Peace.